What's up, everybody? It is Broken Havoc here, right here on the Broken Havoc podcast, here to review Monday Night Raw from September 6th, 2021. My first Raw review in 2 weeks. I haven't been reviewing Raw for the past 2 weeks. Number one, because I missed Raw, and number two, I'm just extremely busy. Mondays are now my most busiest day, to the point where I tend to miss Raw. I will still be giving you guys my Raw review on the channel, but it's going to be a little bit of a task for me, but I will still try to watch Raw if I can, because of the fact that this show is a 3-hour disaster. But I will still give you guys my Raw review. It's just going to take a little bit longer. Really, I feel like my main focuses are Dynamite, SmackDown, and Rampage, and the pay-per-views. Honestly, Raw is a show that I do not feel like covering, but I will still cover it, considering the fact that there can be some important things happening on the show, regardless if the show is good or bad. But, let's be 100% real here. Raw is not the important WWE show anymore. I don't even consider it the flagship of WWE anymore. It is still the flagship, but in my eyes, SmackDown is by far the flagship because of the fact that, number one, they're on Fox, and number two, that's where most of the important shit happens. And the fact that roster is just loaded with stars, and really SmackDown is really where it's at. Raw is by far atrocious. I do not like the show whatsoever. At least they tried something different with the show with the Tag Team Turmoil, but I'm going to be honest. This whole show, when I was taking notes, I did not care for whatsoever. The majority of the show, I was literally on my bed just taking notes and just checking the time when the show will end. I do that with almost every wrestling show, but I do it for a reason, because of the fact that, every time, look, this is the thing. When a show is bad, the show takes extremely long. If the show is horrible, just like this show, the time just goes extremely slow. But when a show is good, it goes extremely fast. And then when I watch Dynamite and I look at my phone, I'm like, oh, it's already 9:00. Damn, that went quick, because the show is that damn good and I was invested in what I was watching. When it comes to Raw, I'm literally on a hurry. Just be like, okay, when is this show over, so I can just, I don't know, go get something to eat or just watch YouTube, because that's how uninteresting this show is. And especially after what I saw on Sunday night with All Out, honestly, do any of you care about the WWE product primarily on Raw? I do believe, SmackDown, I've stated this before, but I give SmackDown a pass because of the fact that in my eyes, I believe that SmackDown is really not that bad of a show, in my opinion. There's still some flaws. Both Raw and SmackDown have the exact same booking problems, but I feel like the problems are more frequent on Raw than SmackDown. Don't get me wrong, we still get rematches that don't make any sense on SmackDown, but with Raw, I feel like it's way more frequent, and there's just so many things wrong with that show. It's unbaffling for me. It's just mind-boggling for me, if I should say. But Monday Night Raw happened. We had a Tag Team Turmoil. We had not Damien Priest. Well, Damien Priest, of course, he's going to be facing the winner of Sheamus and Drew McIntyre, which I thought was not that bad of a match. It was a pretty good match. I will say Bobby Lashley looked great at the closing of the show. We had a rematch a rematch. We see that all the time. It's like a common thing. It's like a common trend on WWE programming with Nia Jax and Charlotte Flair. Of course, last week they had somewhat of a shoot fight, as they try to do. It looked extremely bad. It looked like it was a legitimate shoot in which Nia Jax was not cooperating with Charlotte. Who knows if it was a work shoot or a legitimate shoot? Honestly, I could care less, because of the fact that Nia Jax, in my opinion, is not that great of a worker. Charlotte Flair is a good worker, in my opinion. Even though I do not like the fact that WWE keeps on overexposing her, I do believe she's still a really good wrestler in my eyes. But we had a rematch with Nia Jax and Charlotte Flair, which honestly I did not give a shit about. Again, the Tag Team Turmoil was really the whole aspect of this whole show. Of course, we had that little segment. It's like a common thing with WWE now. It's like a rinse and repeat thing. The exact same segments are are on the exact same areas on where they were last week. Like the 24/7 segments are always like in like the beginning of like the third hour or like the near the end of the second hour of Raw. But I mean, I will say those 24/7 segments, as much as they're stupid. Oh yeah, speaking of 24/7, we had Jeff Hardy of all people, former world champion, chase the 24/7 championship. It goes to show you how much they give a shit about their talent. But those 24/7 segments, I do not like them. I think they're retarded. Like I do not like them. I think they're ridiculous and stupid. But in my opinion, like I will say Reggie is really good. And I tweeted this out on Twitter. I would love to see a match with Reggie and Ninja Mac. If you guys do not know who Ninja Mac is from GCW. And I've started watching GCW my first GCW show was Homecoming Part 1. I only watched Homecoming Part 1, and then I watched another GCW show. I forgot what it was called. And then I watched The Art of War Games, which was this past Saturday. I will say, I really enjoyed The Art of War Games and the Homecoming show. Deathmatch Wrestling, I mean, I've seen compilation videos in the past few years of, companies like CZW, but GCW is really where it's at. It's really, really fun to watch. Like, if you want a wrestling product like that, is just genuinely fun to watch. And like I don't really criticize it when it comes to like the product. I just like what I see in the ring. Just like the commentary team. Yes, the commentary team is not that good in GCW, but it makes you laugh your ass off. But it's really just entertaining for me to watch, and it's just like it's fun for me to watch. Like it's like a little bit of a breath of fresh air, and they just do whatever the hell they freaking want to do when it comes to GCW. But Ninja Mac is from GCW. I tweeted this out. I would love to see a match with Reggie and Ninja Mac. That'd be extremely fun to watch. Of course, that would probably never happen, considering the fact that Ninja Mac ain't part of WWE. He's part of GCW. But whatever, it is what it is. But we got Raw. So this is one of my problems with the show, and it's the backstage segments. I do not like these backstage segments. You can tell they're obviously choreographed and just extremely scripted and just really bad. Like, they're cringeworthy, extremely bad. Like, I feel like, they treat you like a 5-year-old, and that is one of the biggest issues with Raw, in my opinion. They treat you like a 5-year-old. They try to give you some edginess by adding a little bit of curse words. You have Randy Orton coming in and calling Bobby Lashley a greedy son of a bitch. Oh my God, they cursed. Great. AEW does it. You want to know why they do it? Because they're actually, the product is really good. I feel like, when WWE tries to do stuff like that, I understand what they're trying to do by trying to make the product more edgy, but like at the same time, you can really see through their bullshit and be like, yeah, I mean, we're just trying hard and trying to be cool, but in reality, we know we're not cool. AEW is really, in my opinion, and look, I know I sound like a mark, but like I'm just telling the God's honest truth. AEW is really the place to be, man. Like, their product right now is on a roll, and it completely makes me uninterested when it comes to Raw. SmackDown, I'm still interested with SmackDown, and I'm extremely excited about the MSG show this Friday. But Raw, on the other hand, is like garbage, man. This show is absolutely atrocious, and I mean that to the bottom of my heart. Like, I don't care about this show. I really don't. I don't care about this show whatsoever. I feel like when I watch this show every Monday, I feel like I'm wasting 3 hours of my life. I feel like I should be doing something else rather than watching this show. And I mean that wholeheartedly. Like, I do believe that this show is by all means the worst wrestling show right now. Like, this is, a lot of people say, oh, this is WCW 2000-esque. Bro, this is worse than WCW in 2000, and I wasn't even born in 2000. Like, if you watch WCW in 2000, yeah, they did some stupid shit, especially when it comes to Vince Russo and his booking, but like, bro, I'd rather watch that. I'd rather watch the New Blood versus the Millionaires Club versus this garbage. I'd rather watch War Games 2000. Hell, I'd rather watch David Arquette win the WCW title. Yeah, I said it. Granted, was that a great moment? No. It was one of the worst moments in WCW's history. That was one of the reasons why the company went out of business. I'd rather watch the movie Ready to Rumble over this. And yes, Ready to Rumble is, in my opinion, look, a lot of people hate Ready to Rumble, but I will say the music, I said the music. The movie is funny because of how stupid the movie is. Yes, as a wrestling fan, it makes you look stupid, It makes me look stupid, trust me. But let's be honest. I mean, I'd rather watch Ready to Rumble and WCW in 2000 rather than this garbage. I'm being straight up right now. Like, we all thought Raw in late 2018, 2019 was terrible. 2020 was worse. SmackDown was even terrible in 2020 before the whole Roman Reigns thing happened. But, I mean, SmackDown right now is on a roll. When it comes to WWE's product, do I think they're, like, you know, extremely popular amongst the hardcore fan base? Maybe not. I mean, Roman Reigns is like Roman Reigns is carrying that show, but Raw, I mean, like, do you honestly care about Raw? Because I know I don't. Like, honestly, there's a part of me, like a little gut in me saying, like, I should just stop the Raw reviews because how bad the show is. It's completely uninteresting. But I'm not gonna stop with the Raw reviews considering the fact that there can be some important things happening. And we do got a draft coming up, so I'm gonna be reviewing Raw. Honestly, a lot of people are advocating for WWE to end the brand split and just merge both of the rosters, which I'm for it, but at the same time against it. And I know I should be talking about the show, but I feel like this whole thing plays a factor in the whole review. I'm for it, but against it. When it comes to the brand split, I was always advocating for WWE to bring back the brand split way back in 2016 because, number one, I just liked the idea of two separate rosters and basically creating competition within the company. Now, granted, it's not real competition. Let's be honest. It's kayfabe competition. But at least it's something, and it gives you like a little bit of fresh air when it comes to talent. But let's be straight up. WWE fucked up the brand split. They really messed it up so badly by, number one, killing off the brand exclusive pay-per-views, basically ruining SmackDown, which was on a roll back in late 2016, early 2017. That was probably like the best time in modern WWE. Like, the last good year, in my opinion, of WWE was in 2016. 2017 started to dim down a little bit. 2018, honestly, I started to not give a crap. 2019 was even worse. And 2020, don't even get me started. 2021, worse. But at least, you know, with Roman Reigns' whole Tribal Chief storyline, at least I am getting invested a little more. And, of course, what's happening on SmackDown, especially with the MSG show. I mean, I'm really, you know, Survivor Series is in November. And I mean, they're building that show. They're most likely, hopefully, they're going to start building that show as a big deal because a lot of people are saying that The Rock is going to be coming back. But I don't know if that's going to be the case, but maybe that will happen. Who knows? But a lot of people, again, are advocating to end the brand split. And, you know, a part of me really agrees, but at the same time disagrees. If I was in charge, I'd completely change the rosters, but I would completely change the format of each show because one of the biggest problems with the roster split today is the fact that both shows don't feel different at all. Number one is, I mean, yes, you got different talent, and the only difference is you got different wrestlers on each show, and you got different colors. That's probably the only difference, and maybe the commentary team, because Michael Cole and Pat McAfee are amazing. They're by far the best commentary team in the WWE right now. But you know, Byron Saxton, Jimmy Smith, again, I've stated this in my previous Raw reviews, Jimmy Smith sounds like, and look, he's a big improvement over Adnan Virk, but one of my biggest problems is I don't know why they're hiring guys that are giving them the lead, that you are giving the lead role in play-by-play commentary and to guys that don't even watch wrestling or haven't watched wrestling in decades or in years. Like, you know, that is ridiculous in my opinion. But I mean, Jimmy Smith is a big improvement over Adnan Virk. I thought Adnan Virk was garbage at what he did. And granted, it's not his fault, but I mean, it was absolutely terrible. But Jimmy Smith, in my eyes, I mean, the amount of times where I heard Jimmy Smith repeat the same things over and over again with veteran move this, veteran move that. I mean, like, I heard that constantly. And I tweeted that out on Twitter as well. Like, why does he keep on saying veteran move? It's like a formula, you know? And he also said, no disrespect to Jimmy Smith, because I think, you know, he's not bad. I just, you know, I'm not really that big of a fan of his and the way he sounds. Like, he sounds like a guy. He sounds like a commentator for a wrestling action figure commercial, if to put it into words. That's how he sounds like in my eyes. Like, the best commentators in the WWE right now are Michael Cole and Pat McAfee, of course. They make a great team. And look, Pat McAfee is great. Michael Cole, of course, he gets a lot of criticism. I criticize Michael Cole. It's not his fault. But him being with Pat McAfee gives a breath of new fresh air to SmackDown in my eyes. And it makes the show more fun to watch because of the reactions of Pat McAfee. Excalibur, Tony Schiavone, and Jim Ross. A lot of people in AEW, a lot of people criticize Jim Ross for, his commentary in AEW for botching a lot. Of course, he said WWE Dynamite at the end of the last Dynamite in Daly's place, or not in the last Dynamite in Daly's, but the last Dynamite before they went on the road, which I do agree with. Yes, Jim Ross does a lot of botches, but Excalibur and Tony Schiavone are really great. Jim Ross is not bad either. He's not that bad. I mean, he's just, a little older, but I still consider Jim Ross as the greatest commentator in the wrestling business. But, I mean, Jimmy Smith, Byron Saxton, Corey Graves is carrying that commentary team on Raw, in my opinion. He is carrying that commentary team. Everybody else is just, and the fact is, Corey Graves he's color. I do believe he's color, but he's carrying the commentary team. That is insane. But, that's just my problems with the WWE. Again, the roster split, I'm for ending it, but at the same time, I'm against it because I have my reasons. Again, one of the reasons why I'm against it is because of the fact that you can, and, you have the opportunity to do this, you just don't do it, is you have to make the shows different. And you have the show in the palm of your hands, and you don't even know how to make the shows different. Both the shows feel the same, booking-wise and formulaic-wise. Both shows have the same freaking formula, and that's one of the issues. I feel like the true brand split in modern-day WWE was with Raw and NXT. No, not with Raw, but with the WWE main roster as a whole and NXT. I feel like that was the true brand split of the last 10 years, in my opinion. But, or the last 9 to 8 years. But, when it comes to Raw and SmackDown, those shows do not feel different at all. And you can change them and make them feel different, but you just don't do it. So I understand that point of view of ending the brand split because there's really no point of having a roster split in my eyes. Now you got legitimate competition, so we really don't need to watch Raw. We really don't need to have two separate rosters in the WWE. Just merge them both. Now, does that create risk? Absolutely, because then you're going to have some overexposure. Maybe some overexposure with some of your top guys, but at the same time, you're going to have guys that are going to be lost in the shuffle on the roster. That's one of the issues with having a combined roster is the fact that you're basically going to have, guys being lost in the shuffle. Guys like Cesaro were being lost in the shuffle before WWE brought back the brand split. Granted, they still didn't do anything after the roster split, but I'm just saying, you got guys that can be lost in the shuffle, and that's one of the issues with combining the rosters. It's just, I'm just being honest. We got a draft coming up in October, but even the draft concept has totally got ruined ever since they brought it back. I grew up I started watching wrestling in 2010, and my first WWE draft was the 2011 draft. And that was the only draft I basically experienced watching live on television because in 2011, that's when they merged the rosters, and that's what happened. But, that draft was actually fun to watch. Now, granted, they did some stupid shit by drafting John Cena to SmackDown and then back on Raw the same night. That was ridiculous in my opinion. But at least it was fun to watch, and at least they had fun with it. WWE needs to have fun with the draft. I feel like the draft, the draft concept. I feel like if you watch the 2004 WWE draft, it was really fun to watch because you had the two heel GMs of Heyman and Bischoff just talking shit to one another and be like, hey, yo, I got this dude. I drafted this dude, bitch. Who do you got next? But, do stuff like that. Have fun with it, but these people don't do it. Instead, what they do is just bring in Stephanie McMahon. Of course, she's reading off a script. She's definitely reading off a script, and it does not come off as genuine at all. It comes off as lazy. And, it just is cringeworthy. You guys remember in 2019 where they had those quote-unquote Raw rooms with Fox and USA where they had quote-unquote executives just freaking out over Alexa Bliss or Natalya? Nothing against those two women. I'm just saying, really? A fan wouldn't give a shit. But those executives, they weren't even executives. They were just people that worked for the WWE headquarters. That's it. Really, it was one of the most cringiest things you could ever see in a WWE program. But those are one of my issues. And with this show, especially with the 3-hour Raw, first off, Raw needs to be, that is not the main issue, but I'm just telling you right now, a 3-hour Raw is overkill. Granted, WWE makes more money off that third hour of Raw, but the 3-hour formula sucks ass. It just sucks. I do not like a 3-hour Raw. there's no surprise. Nobody likes 3-hour Raw, but it's stuff that we're going to have to deal with. But enough of me rambling about what I should do. Maybe that could be a separate video. I spoke for like 19 minutes right here. I see the timer for 19 minutes on this whole thing, just talking about like, Raw and all that stuff. But yeah, those are my thoughts on that. I just feel like the WWE needs to change, especially what I saw on Sunday. I mean, like, I'm really disenfranchising myself away from the WWE product, especially what I saw on Sunday night. I mean, like, it's just true, man. Like, you watch All Out and you watch this show, and I'm like, you ask yourself, like, do these people really give a shit? And the only answer is no. The WWE does not give a crap about what AEW does. You want to know why? Is because they're making guaranteed money, and it doesn't really matter if they produce a good or bad product. They're making all this money, and they don't really care. The bottom line to these people, and it is a publicly traded company, and it is a corporate business. The bottom line is they want to make money. That's it. That's the only reason. They want to make money, and that's it. Am I for them making money? Of course, but the way that they play it out is that they only care about that and nothing else. And that is the problem I have. When I was little, starting watching the WWE when I was little, I mean, like, it was not good. It was not the best, but it was much better than the shit that you get today. Trust me. Like, it was much better than the shit you get today. Like, I got a lot of DVDs. Like, WrestleMania 19 is one of my favorite WrestleManias. WrestleMania 17, another one. Now, granted, I wasn't even born during WrestleMania 17, but it's a really good WrestleMania. It's arguably the greatest WrestleMania of all time. I mean, I got ECW One Night Stand 2005 and 2006 on DVD. Like, yes, I still collect DVDs. Now, granted, my wrestling DVD is not large, but I got some stuff there. Like, the show is just atrocious, in my opinion. It's just atrocious. But on with the Raw review. Enough of me rambling for 20 minutes about this. I'm going to go quickly on Raw, honestly, because I don't want to waste time, and not only that, I just really don't care. But we got a small video package on everybody wanting to win the Tag Team Turmoil. Cringeworthy. Randy Orton and Riddle cut a promo talking about MVP and Lashley trying to take their titles last week. He says Lashley is a greedy son of a bitch. Again, as I stated earlier, it's a sign that WWE is trying to be edgy, but, it just comes off as like you're just trying too hard. That's my opinion. Says that they will watch the Tag Team Turmoil and watch their next team so they can beat them. Riddle then talks about all the teams that are going to be in the turmoil. MVP and Lashley come out. MVP tells Riddle to shut his dumb ass up. Says that the WWE Universe loses IQ points just listening to Riddle speak. Talks about the RKO that Randy hit on Lashley last week and says that he's trying to finish what he started. Lashley then asks him to face him one-on-one. Randy accepts the challenge on one condition if it's for the WWE title. Then he says he should put that title on the line. MVP and Lashley talk about it. He talks about Orton hitting the RKO. Says Lashley will return the favor, but it won't be out of nowhere. It will be to his face at Extreme Rules. And then Lashley says that he will be a double champion after he wins this turmoil because him and MVP are going to be joining the Tag Team Turmoil. They should have announced that beforehand, but they didn't. Again, that's another problem with the WWE. They false advertise all the fucking time, man. Like, these people, when they made their debut on Fox, bruh, these people false advertise like just a whole like range. Like, they false advertise like crazy. Like, they were announcing guys like Sting, Goldberg, The Undertaker to be at that show. And all they were just in the crowd and just having a little clip of them in the crowd. Like, really? That's false advertising, in my opinion. But whatever. But they do that all the time, and they really need to stop that. But the New Day come out and says that if he heard about, Lashley wanting to enter the Turmoil match, blah, blah, blah. Says their match is next and talk about how they will win the Tag Team Turmoil and win the tag titles. Great. So we got basically the majority of the beginning and the end of the show was basically the Tag Team Turmoil, which I will say, I mean, I applaud them for trying something different, but like, didn't we get a Tag Team Turmoil a couple of weeks ago? Correct me if I'm wrong. I mean, again, I don't remember stuff that happens on the show, even though I review it because of the fact that how bad the show is. Like, that's just my opinion. But we get the Viking Raiders versus the New Day. It was not a bad match. Aaron Ivar looked great. Of course, the New Day, I feel like we're the MVPs of this whole Turmoil match because Xavier Woods and Kofi Kingston are tremendous wrestlers. I mean, like, Xavier Woods especially. I mean, like, the Hell in the Cell match that he had with Bobby Lashley a couple months ago on Raw, that was an awesome match. But the match starts. Of course, you got Randy Orton and Riddle basically watching the match. We get a double team attempt by the New Day. Woods and Eric fight it out. We get shots to the back by Eric. Eric with the right hand on Woods. Kofi tags in. Woods with the shot on Eric. Kofi goes to the top and tries to drop on the Viking Raiders, but get caught on the outside. Then throws Kofi on Woods. We get a double team attempt by the Viking Raiders and plant Kofi in the ring. We get a cover by Ivar and a near fall. Eric then hits a backbreaker after that. Kofi then with the head scissors. Woods tags in, but Eric plants Woods to the mat. Ivar's on the top and drops Woods. We get a cover into a near fall. Later on, we get a Trouble in Paradise and an inside cradle by Woods. The New Day advance in the Turmoil, and the Viking Raiders are eliminated. Next, we get the New Day versus the Lucha House Party. Look, bro, Lince Dorado and Grand Metalik are amazing talents, or wrestlers, I should say. But let's be straight up. WWE treats, besides Rey Mysterio, they treat their luchadors like garbage. I'm going to be honest. The Lucha Bros, those are the real luchadors, bro. They're the current AEW World Tag Team Champions. And I know I'm mentioning AEW in a Raw review, but I'm just being 100% honest here. And rightfully so, because yes, I'm an AEW mark, and I will call them out if they do some stupid shit. Look, I'll admit, I did not like Paul White versus QT Marshall. I thought the match sucked. But I mean, I'm being honest. I mean, like, you know, the Lucha House Party, and it's nothing on them. It's the way creative views luchadors, the Lucha House Party. You know, I'm just saying, like, there's a clear difference on luchador besides Rey Mysterio, with the exception of Rey Mysterio, on luchadors in the WWE. Primarily on the main roster and AEW. You could definitely see the difference. But we got the New Day versus the Lucha House Party. We get a double moonsault on the apron on the New Day. Dorado works on Woods. Grand Metalik tags in. We get a double team attempt by both Grand Metalik and Lince Dorado. We get a super kick by Metalik. Kofi tags in. Goes to the top. We get a crossbody to the back of Metalik. We get a cover into a near fall. Later on in the match, Woods tags in. We get a double cutter by Dorado, which looked really good. We get a cover into a near fall. We get a super kick by Lince Dorado. Metalik tags in. We get a middle rope moonsault by Metalik, but Dorado tags in after that. We get a moonsault off the top by Dorado. We get a cover into a near fall. Dorado gets then face planted by Kofi. We get a roll up by Woods on Grand Metalik, and the New Day advance in the Tag Team Turmoil. Next up, we got the overscripted Jobber Kings, the overscripted Jobber Kings, because that's who they are. T-Bar and Mace are jobbers. We got the New Day versus T-Bar and Mace. T-Bar and Mace, again, another tag team that nobody gives a shit about. I mean, WWE, especially on the main roster, they view tag team wrestling completely different than AEW does. I mean, this is WWE's view on a tag team. Hey, let's put one wrestler and another wrestler together, and boom, you got a tag team. They don't got legitimate tag. That's why I criticize the women's tag team division. I mean, everybody was asking for women's tag titles, including myself. But then you got to look at the bright picture. I mean, what they should have done first was introduce women's tag teams first and then introduce the titles, but they went the other way around. They introduced women's tag titles with absolutely no women's tag teams at all, and they just put two tag teams together. Like Natalya and Tamina. To me, that's not a real tag team. That is not a real tag team whatsoever. Okay, the Riot Squad, in my opinion, Ruby Riott and Liv Morgan. To me, that was a legitimate tag team. But Tamina and Natalya, they are not a real tag team, in my opinion. AEW, again, I'm mentioning AEW because I'm rightfully so. AEW has the best tag team division in the world, and the same thing goes with the men's tag team division. The men's tag team division, T-Bar and Mace, the Viking Raiders. Yes, those are legitimate tag teams, but AJ and Omas, I don't think that's a legitimate tag team in my opinion. That's just my view on things. You know, WWE views tag team wrestling completely different than AEW. We get a tag made by T-Bar. Works on Woods. Woods proceeds to fight back. We get an elbow by T-Bar. We get a cover into a near fall. Mace tags in. He tries to slam Woods, but Mace tags in after that. Sends Woods to the barricade. We get a kick by Mace. T-Bar with a backbreaker, but Woods rolls him up, and the New Day advance. But what happens is that T-Bar and Mace proceed to attack the New Day because they're pissed off that they lost the Tag Team Turmoil. Yes, because they're jobbers. We get a running suplex by Mace. Mansour and Ali try to come out for the save. Again, Mansour, they're booking Mansour like he's extremely stupid, and he's been in the WWE for like 2 or 3 years already. Like, they're treating Mansour like a joke. Like, bruh, you're making Mansour look extremely stupid on television, and they don't even realize it. That is the funniest shit ever. All right, so they come out. Mansour wants to help the New Day, but Ali's like, what the hell are you doing? No. But then T-Bar and Mace gain the advantage. T-Bar sends Mansour to the barricade. Both Mace and T-Bar send Ali to the post. Both take the steel steps and hit it on Mansour. Then they go after the New Day, primarily Kofi Kingston. And then T-Bar throws Kofi Kingston to the steps. And then they throw Woods to the post. Sonya Deville and Adam Pearce come out to try to stop T-Bar and Mace. What happens after that? The whole thing gets postponed for like another hour until like near the end of the show. So we won't get the Tag Team Turmoil next up. We'll get that near the end of the show. So yeah. We got Drew McIntyre versus Sheamus. The winner faces Damien Priest. I said Damien. Damien Priest at Extreme Rules. My apologies. But overall thoughts on this match. I thought this was a good match, but this is a scenario in which we have already seen this match earlier this year, probably multiple times. Correct me if I'm wrong, but they were feuding earlier this year on the road to WrestleMania. But this was not a bad match, I will say. This was not a bad match at all. We got a superplex by Sheamus on McIntyre. Once we're back from break, McIntyre proceeds to fight back. We get a clothesline by McIntyre. Then McIntyre proceeds to throw Sheamus. Then we get a neckbreaker by Sheamus. Sheamus goes to the top. McIntyre also goes to the top. Hits a belly-to-belly suplex off the top on Sheamus. McIntyre with a sunset flip. We get a near fall. McIntyre hits the Glasgow Kiss, but Sheamus's masks took McIntyre down, so McIntyre is basically selling the mask. We get a shoulder tackle by McIntyre. We get a cover by Sheamus and a near fall. We get a kick by Sheamus. Sheamus then proceeds to mock McIntyre. McIntyre with a clothesline. Then McIntyre hits the Future Shock DDT. We get a cover and a near fall. Sheamus then picks up McIntyre and sends Sheamus to the post. Then we get a Kimura trap by McIntyre. Then Sheamus gets his hand on the bottom rope. McIntyre goes to the top, misses. We get a pump knee. Now, at one point, I thought that actually was a bro kick, but no. When they showed the replay, that was actually a pump knee. So I literally, on my notes, I was like, oh, that was a bro kick. No, that wasn't a bro kick. That was a pump knee because they showed me the replay, but from the area in which they showed it, I thought it was a bro kick. That was just my opinion. But it wasn't a bro kick when they showed the replay. That was a pump knee. We get a cover and a near fall. Sheamus tries to go for the cloverleaf. We get a roll up by McIntyre, and then we get a near fall. We get a white noise by McIntyre. Both Sheamus and McIntyre then after that exchange shots. McIntyre then rips the mask off of Sheamus. Then we get a roll up by Sheamus. Sheamus wins the match out of pure stupidity on McIntyre's part. So we're going to be getting Damien Priest versus Sheamus in a rematch from SummerSlam, which, I mean, I would be angry, but at the same time, it's WWE booking for you. I mean, of course they're going to be doing stuff like this. But, I mean, Sheamus and Damien Priest did work a good match at SummerSlam, so I'm really excited to see. I'm not really excited, but, I do believe they will be working a good match at Extreme Rules, so that's that. And another thing is, this show is called Extreme Rules, and I don't see any Extreme Rules match announced or any Extreme Rules caliber match. First off, why call the show Extreme Rules if the show's not even extreme? Having a chair and kendo sticks and tables is not extreme. Okay, what's extreme is barbed wire, light tubes. If you want to watch extreme, you go watch GCW and CZW and old school ECW. That's extreme right there, no pun intended. Okay, but Extreme Rules, that is like Extreme Rules at home. We get a backstage interview with Nikki ASH and Rhea Ripley. Says that they are working on what they have in common and they will get there. Great. I do not care. We get a backstage interview with Charlotte talking about her match with Nia Jax. I do not care. We got Nikki ASH versus and Rhea Ripley versus Natalya and Tamina. Again, I mean, I do not care about this whole storyline with Nikki ASH and Rhea Ripley. Natalya and Tamina, again, like they lost this match, and it makes me question, why are they the tag team champions if you're booking them to lose on television? Wouldn't it make the titles useless, in my opinion? And yes, titles matter. If you think titles don't matter, you shouldn't be watching wrestling. That's just my opinion. Okay, maybe I'm being a little too mean, but like I'm just saying, like maybe I'll take that back. If you think titles don't matter, please, just think about what you're saying. Titles do matter. That's my thing. But Tamina and Nikki ASH start. We get a takedown by Tamina. Nikki's on the top. We get a sunset flip by Nikki. A senton by Nikki. We get a tag by Rhea. A boot by Rhea. Both Rhea and Tamina exchange shots. Rhea then picks up Nikki and hits Natalya. Natalya is legal. Then Natalya goes after Nikki. Nikki's on the top. Tamina stops her. Nikki goes after Tamina, and then we get a drop kick by Natalya. We get a super kick on the outside by Tamina. Rhea tags in later on. We get a clothesline after that by Rhea Ripley, and then she hits a headbutt. We get a drop kick by Rhea. We got a Northern Light suplex by Rhea Ripley after that. Nikki tags in, goes to the top. We get a crossbody after that by Nikki ASH. We get a cover into near fall. Then we get a drop kick by Rhea Ripley. Natalya then proceeds to hit a German suplex. Nikki misses a tornado DDT. Then we get a discus lariat by Natalya. We get a riptide by Natalya, as Ednon Burke would say, riptide, repeatedly. Then we get a cover, and Nikki ASH and Rhea Ripley win the match. Again, I did not care about this match whatsoever. What was the point of this match if you're going to have your women's tag team champions lose? I do not know. I wouldn't be surprised if we got singles matches regarding these wrestlers right here. I wouldn't be surprised if we got Nikki ASH versus Natalya and, Rhea Ripley versus Tamina next week, and then the roles would be reversed the next week. So I wouldn't be surprised. That is WWE booking for you. We got Karrion Kross on Moist TV, and then I didn't watch Raw for the past 2 weeks, but I heard what they did to Karrion Kross. Yes, he was buried beforehand, but they changed his whole look. He has a freaking mask, and he looks like a whole... I don't even want to mention what he looks like. He looks absolutely terrible. But he plans on making John Morrison suffer, says, in the match, blah, blah, blah. Cuts your typical Karrion Kross promo. Then we got Karrion Kross versus John Morrison. The match was extremely short. Karrion Kross, of course, went over. But, it doesn't change the fact that he got buried on his first night. He lost in 2 minutes to Jeff Hardy. And he was the NXT champion. Whatever. Bro, WWE don't care about NXT. Bro, they're revamping NXT. They're changing everything about NXT, and it sucks next week, but whatever. That's another story for another time. That's another video probably for another time. I don't even know if I'm even making that video. But we get a takedown by Kross. We get repeated rights by Kross. Then we get a stomp by Kross. Saito suplex by Kross. Morrison grabs the dripstick, sprays it on Karrion Kross. Then we get a big boot by Kross. Takes Morrison over the top of the ring post, which I will say that was a devastating spot. That looked extremely painful, probably because of the fact that probably Morrison's back got hit from that point in the corner of the ring post, that looked brutal. I will say that. Kross then applies the cross jacket, then Morrison passes out. Kross wins the match. I wouldn't be surprised if they booked him like this for the rest of, I don't know, maybe the duration of the year, but let's be straight up. He's already buried. Karrion Kross is already buried. We get a backstage interview with Nia Jax. Talks about the match last week. Says that she splattered Charlotte and says that she will walk out the Raw Women's Champion. Honestly, I do not care at all. I saw the match. That match was just out of place. I don't even know what the hell they were doing. A lot of people were saying it was a shoot. A lot of people were saying it was a work shoot. And if that was what they were going, okay, they're trying something new, but let's be straight up. Really? I don't know. But we got Nia Jax versus Charlotte Flair for the Raw Women's title. This match, again, in my view, didn't really last that long. Of course, Nia Jax lost. Did you think Charlotte was going to lose? No. because of Shayna Baszler, and hopefully they split Shayna Baszler and Nia Jax, because I don't know who came up with that idea for them to be a tag team. I think that is one of the stupidest ideas somebody came up with in creative. You know, Shayna Baszler should be on her own and should be in the main event scene. She's a main event caliber wrestler in my opinion, but WWE does not view that. So it is what it is. But Shayna Baszler grabs the mic as soon as the match starts. Says that Nia Jax can't beat Charlotte, asks if Nia becomes the champion, and she will choke. Then a fight breaks loose between Nia and Charlotte, and they both proceed to brawl. Then Nia pulls the hair of Charlotte. Charlotte retreats, faces Nia, and then Nia pulls the hair of Charlotte. We've got a couple of elbows by Charlotte. Charlotte then hits a chop block. Nia then takes Charlotte to the corner. Charlotte is on the top. Then Nia goes to the top and tries to superplex Charlotte, but Charlotte escapes. Charlotte then drops Nia to the mat. We get a cover into near fall. We get a couple of stomps by Charlotte after that. Nia sends Charlotte to the bottom turnbuckle. Once we're back from commercial break, Charlotte then hits the moonsault on Nia on the outside. Then we get a headbutt by Nia. We get a splash in the corner by Nia. Charlotte is on the top. Shayna with the distraction on Nia Jax. Charlotte hits the natural selection. We get a cover, and Charlotte Flair wins the match. She retains the women's title. Again, I didn't care about this match whatsoever. Again, it goes to show you how disenfranchised from this show, I was after watching Sunday night. Now, granted, Raw was interesting regardless, and I've stated this in my Raw reviews, but let's be honest, man. After All Out, I just don't give a shit. I'm just saying, man. And I don't want to act like, Mark, and, you could have a lot of people watch this and be like, yo, you're on Tony Khan's payroll. That's the common thing a lot of people say, but you know damn well you don't like Raw. I know for a fact you don't like Raw, and you like AEW. I'm just saying. There's a lot of AEW haters that were legitimately AEW haters that were tweeting on Twitter like, oh yeah, I love AEW now for what I saw it All Out. Come on now. Nobody gives a shit. All right, but whatever. Then Alexa Bliss is on the Titantron, asks if Charlotte can join the playground. Charlotte says no, and basically cuts the typical Dudley Boys promo. If you won't come to us, we'll come to you. That's some Dudley Boys ECW shit right there. Heat Wave 1998. Or no, Heat Wave 2000 or Heat Wave 9. I think it was Heat Wave 99, right? Yeah, I think it was Heat Wave 99. But if you guys don't remember that, watch it. It's on YouTube. It's funny as hell. The Dudley Boys caused riots in ECW. I will say that. They always call. They be saying that on the documentaries, but if you watch the Heat Wave incident from the Dudley Boys in ECW, it's on YouTube. Watch it. It's funny as hell. They be causing riots within the crowd, and the crowd legitimate. That's legit heel heat right there. WWE needs stuff like that in order to grab the viewer's attention, in my view. But yeah. So Alexa Bliss shows up, and then Charlotte asks what she wants. Alexa points at the title, and I will admit, as much as I do not like the supernatural garbage that WWE is doing when it comes to Lily and Alexa Bliss, and also the Bray Wyatt's gimmick, WWE banking off of Bray Wyatt's gimmick and releasing Bray Wyatt and cutting him, that is a big FU to Bray Wyatt, in my opinion. But I know for a fact that, if they continue using that gimmick and Bray Wyatt eventually shows up in AEW, he's going to use a completely different gimmick, and basically he's going to make more money than he ever did than WWE's making on the Bray Wyatt gimmick that they're using now. But, yeah, but I will admit, though, it did get a huge crowd reaction. Am I excited for it? No. But I will admit it did get a huge crowd reaction from the crowd. So, hey, well, let's see what happens there. But in my view, I wasn't as interested as a lot of other people were. But I will admit there was a genuine huge pop for that. We get Reggie versus Akira Tazawa for the 24/7 title now. I don't know why they do this type of stuff. First off, the 24/7 championship should not even be a thing. I will admit, though, the whole segments with Reggie is pretty entertaining to watch, but, at the same time, it's a wrestling show. Now, granted, WWE do not like pro wrestling, but it is what it is. But I will admit, I stated earlier in this review, Reggie's amazing. Not only that, I would love to see a match with Ninja Mac and Reggie. That'd be amazing. That's the dream match of the century right there, okay? But but I don't know why they got 24/7 title singles matches, and they said, "Oh, the 24/7 rules are lifted," and I'm like, but it's called the 24/7 championship, and you're saying that you lift the rules. That makes absolutely no sense. That's one of the problems with this show. They don't use logic at all in this show, and that's the problem. But okay, whatever. I did not even take notes on the match because it's a throwaway match. Nobody gives a shit. But Cedric Alexander and then Angel Garza, everybody just runs in after the match ends. Oh yeah, and by the way, Reggie retains. And Jeff Hardy, of all people, were one of the people chasing the 24/7 championship. So that easily could have been Adam Cole if he re-signed to WWE. There was a lot of reports saying that Adam Cole was offered a manager role. Yes, a manager role. A main event level guy in Adam Cole. They wanted him to be a freaking manager. Are you kidding me? How stupid are these people, bro? Thank God he's in AEW, bro. If he hadn't showed up at All Out or in AEW and he re-signed with the WWE, I would have been extremely disappointed. But like, thank God he's in AEW, man. We got an interview backstage with Doudrop. She says she's not done with the event, says that she will challenge Eva to a rematch. Okay, whatever. I don't care. Now we got, for the rest of the show, we got Tag Team Turmoil, so that's great. So we got the New Day versus Ali and Mansour, of course. This picked off for what happened later on, or earlier on in the beginning of the show. This match was not bad. Again, Mansour and Ali look great as a tag team, in my opinion. I just do not like the way that they're booking Mansour. They're booking Mansour like this guy that is just extremely stupid. Like your typical storyline of, hey, I want to be a WWE superstar. I want to know some tips and tricks. Bro, nobody would do that. Like legitimately nobody would do that. And they're making Mansour look extremely dumb, in my opinion. But I will say the tag team chemistry with Ali and Mansour is really good. Their in-ring work, bar none, really good. Both Mansour and Kofi lock up. We get a waist lock by Mansour. Mansour hits an arm drag. Kofi gets taken to the outside when Ali pushes down the rope when he tries to run the ropes. Then we get an SOS by Kofi. Woods tags in. Ali is legal and proceeds to work on Woods. Mansour tags in. Then Mansour takes Woods up. Ali is on the top. He takes down Mansour. Then Woods hits a superplex on Mansour. Woods then picks up Mansour. We get a roll-up by Mansour. Ali then tags himself. We get a headbutt by Woods. Kofi tags in. Kofi hits a frog splash. Jimmy Smith on commentary calls it a crossbody, but to me, that is not a crossbody. That is a legit frog splash. It looks like a frog splash, and it is a frog splash. It is not a crossbody. Just saying. Ali counters the Trouble in Paradise after that with a super kick. Then Ali misses the 450 splash. Then Kofi hits the Trouble in Paradise. Then Woods hits the elbow drop. Tremendous combination by the New Day. Then we get a cover and the New Day win the match. They advance in the Tag Team Turmoil. Next up, we got AJ Styles and Omas versus the New Day. Again, AJ and Omas. Again, I don't know why AJ's in a tag team with Omas, but it is what it is. AJ Styles should break off on his own and basically just be in the main event scene because Raw desperately needs a main event scene. Yeah, AJ works on Woods. We got a pounce. Yes, that was a pounce. That looked like a pounce, in my opinion. That looked like a pounce. He pulled a Monty Brown. Nice little tribute to the TNA days. Now, granted, it wasn't really a tribute to TNA. I'm gonna be honest. It wasn't. I'm just assuming things, but that was a pounce. Shades of Monty Brown, the alpha male. Send Woods into the corner. Continues to work on Woods. Omas tags in. We get a shot to the back of Woods. Stands on Woods. Takes Woods to the corner. We get a shot to the corner by Omas on Woods. AJ tags in. We get a cover and a near fall. We got a snap suplex by AJ on Woods. We get a cover into a near fall, continues to work on Woods. We get a couple of kicks by AJ. Woods then begins to get the advantage. Woods then tries to make the hot tag, but AJ takes out Kofi. We get a roll up by Woods. We get a near fall. Then the hot tag is made. Then Omos takes out Kofi Kingston. Kofi hits the Trouble in Paradise. We get a cover and a near fall when Omos interferes. But then AJ hits the Styles Clash, and AJ and Omos advance. So the New Day is eliminated after going on how many rounds? Like 5 or 6. That's crazy, but it is what it is. So next up, we got Bobby Lashley versus MVP Bobby Lashley and MVP versus Omas and AJ Styles. MVP and Styles start, but MVP tags Lashley. Lashley works on Styles. We got a Pele kick by AJ on Lashley. Omas tags in. Lashley and Omas are in the ring, and then they're about to fight it out. And the crowd by this point is hot. I will admit the crowd was hot at the end of this. Lashley and Omas with a quote-unquote tug of war. Then Lashley works on Omas into the corner. Then Lashley tries to go for the slam, but Omas picks him up instead, and then drops Lashley. Omas takes Lashley to the outside. Orton and Lashley then just face off. Then Styles with the phenomenal forearm from the table on Randy Orton and Bobby Lashley. Omas sends Riddle to the barricade after that. MVP goes after AJ. Omas sends Riddle to the announce table. Styles then tries to go for the phenomenal forearm, but then Lashley counters with a devastating, and I mean legitimately devastating spear that got the crowd on their feet. Then Lashley and MVP will, after that, cover. MVP and Lashley win the match. Lashley and MVP will face Riddle and Randy Orton for the tag titles next week. So, yes, we're going to be getting that. Then, after that, Omas plants Lashley to the mat and then proceeds to... after that, Orton hits the RKO again on Lashley and the show ends. Yeah, so basically this whole Raw show was just built on the Tag Team Turmoil and really nothing else. Everything else in the show was really rendered useless in my opinion. Again, the show is still not good. It's just uninteresting, especially after All Out. I've stated that before, and I will keep repeating myself. I don't care. But, again, this show was pretty terrible. But, the Tag Team Turmoil was not bad. It's just like, it wasn't really as interesting as I wanted it to be. I will admit there were some loud crowd reactions, but me as the viewer watching it on television, I just didn't really care. But again, Raw as a show absolutely sucks. I do not like it. I will still do my Raw reviews. I'm just saying, Raw, this show is not going to change at all. But yeah, that was my Raw review from September 6th, 2021. Please like, subscribe, comment down below, push that bell for notifications. Be on the lookout for my Dynamite review and my SmackDown and Rampage reviews. Again, also be on the look. Watch my All Out review because I spend over an hour talking about All Out. It was an amazing pay-per-view, and it was an amazing pay-per-view in my opinion. But watch that video. Check it out. I really talk about it. But yeah, be on the lookout for that. Like and subscribe. Follow me on social media on both Instagram and Twitter. And subscribe to the channel for more content. And this is Broken Havoc from the Broken Havoc Podcast. Signing out.